Athlete of the week.
Well, I used to play guard a couple years ago, and then I grew so much early that I had to go down to post.
Grew is an understatement. As a freshman, Rushie's Dane Borchers was a 5'11" guard. He's now the team's senior center and stands 6'8". He grew 9 inches in 3 years and changed his game in the process. He weighs only 195 pounds, but is big enough to carry the Raiders into the state Final Four and hopefully bring Russia High School its first championship in any sport since 1971.
I always think about it every night before I go to bed, and I just hope that once I get on the floor, I just go out there and play a game.
Kelly Grody from the dealership on hand today at Russia High School to present Dane Borchers and the rest of the school. This week's 7 Sports Schmidt-Hulsman Auto Mall Student Athlete of the Week. Finally, go to WHOTV.com. This week we ask you how many games will the Reds win this season, and that's
area teams playing for state titles this weekend. Delva St. John's and Russia. That's right, I said Russia. This is the Raiders' first ever trip to the boys' state basketball tournament. This team is tough, folks. The town, understandably, very excited.
It really sunk in on my drive home the other day, just from Columbus. You know, I had some time to sit in the car by myself and think about it, and it's really neat for the community. The community is really, you can just imagine they're all fired up, and you know, it's not a whole lot of education going on this week. I imagine the kids are pretty wound.
It's been a lot of excitement. I mean, there's not much getting done in school these days. I mean, teachers are trying hard to keep people focused on their academics, and the whole town it's everywhere you go, that's all they're talking about.
Oh, it's awesome. Everybody's following us, they're supporting us, doing everything to try to help us out, and it's great. The whole town's buzzing.
The Raiders dominating the Division IV regional at Oxford, ripping Cedarville and then South Charleston Southeastern, led by 6'8" all-everything Dane Borchers, but he had plenty of help from his teammates gelling right now. This is a club that's currently 23-3, but up against it versus 23-2 White Oak.
Not very big. I think our biggest player is 6'2". We've got 3 or 4 kids who are 6'1", 6 foot, really athletic, good shooters. Not much of an inside game, you know, but you know, that's what we're going to try to take advantage of, but we've got to do a good job defending because they can shoot it.
We got 2 more big ones left, and we'll play as hard as we can, and hopefully we'll come out on top.
Russia and White Oak Thursday night at 6 p.m. from the Value City Arena in Columbus. Division IV state semifinals, of course. We'll have all your highlights right here on the News Journal. Well, I mentioned St.
Shelby County. The Russia Raiders are making their first ever trip to the state semifinals. Coming off this regional final win over top-ranked and previously unbeaten Southeastern, it's on to Columbus and a Final Four matchup with Morristown White Oak.
They are quick, not real big, but they're quick, and they've got some outstanding shooters. We're going to have to defend.
They're not extremely tall. They're all 6'2" to 5'10". They're a quick team, very athletic. They like to pressure and get up and down the floor.
We gain confidence with every game. We have a pretty good feeling about every game. We know we can do it as long as we play with the way we're supposed to, how we're told to. And
here's your matchup. Russia 22-3 taking on Morristown White Oak 23-2. Tip-off set 6 o'clock in Value City Arena. Should be a humdinger. The first ever captain of the club. I got to go to the doctor later.
Take something of that, and let's hope Russia wins.
Let's hope. Let's go Raiders.
Go Raiders.
There you go.
Okay, Rye.
And straight ahead.
We'll try to do something that hasn't been done in 31 years. Stay with us.
The practice today. The coach wanted to keep his ball players calm, focused, free of distraction. Let's take you through Russia, a small but mighty dot on the map in Shelby County, 1,000 strong. There's absolutely nothing around town to remind the players that they're playing in the biggest weekend of basketball of their lives. Come on, Coach, it's the state tournament. All kidding aside, this Division IV team has kept its cool all season. In fact, staying focused and level-headed may be this team's strength.
A real unselfish group of kids. They work really hard. You know, they're real level-headed. Don't get too high, don't get too low. Just real stay on an even keel, and they've done that all year.
A couple of weeks ago, the
team and his coach, Jim Philpott, was selected as the Division III Coach of the Year. The Division IV Coach of the Year may go to that man, Paul Bremagen of Russia. Russia High School has just 1 state title in school history, yet they play in the state semis On Thursday, it was back in 1971 when the baseball team won it all.
It's exciting getting there, and you know, we're shooting for a state championship, and there's only 3 other teams doing that. And, you know, we're going to give it our best shot.
That's been everything and more. I mean, the fans are just crazy. I mean, it's been very exciting, and I can't wait to play.
Sports.
All right, thanks, Mario.
That is News Center 7's Night Beat for Tuesday.
Russia High School is making state sports history. For the first time ever, they are headed to the state Division IV basketball semifinals. Russia is one of the 5 smallest schools in the entire state, but they are having a big rally tonight in preparation for tomorrow's big game. If you want to go, the rally starts tonight at 8 at the school gym.
To Shelby County and files this report.
Tomorrow night, the Raiders of Russia High will be competing in their first basketball Final Four appearance in school history. And when a team from a town that only has around 1,000 residents goes to state, the whole community goes with them.
First time going to state, it's just a great feeling, especially when these kids are great kids. They work together well, and they play together well, and they're just having fun.
So is everyone you know going to the game, or?
Just about. I think the town will be empty. Yeah. Last one out turns off the lights.
You know, this is a real tight-knit community. Even the whole county is, I feel like, is behind us, and you know, so it's, you know, everybody's on the bandwagon, so to speak, and ready to go, and they're real looking forward to Thursday.
And that momentum that the city gives to the team, along with an unselfish attitude, has taken what players thought would be a good season and turned it into a season of a lifetime.
Really excited. Something kind of dream of when you're young, so all playing in the backyard kind of paid off.
Well, right before I go to bed, I always think about it. And once you get on the floor, you just play your game. You don't really worry about it.
Travis Monfort, 2 Sports.
All right, Travis, thank you very much. Coming up, in fact, we're going to talk more about this Russia dynasty that they're building up in Shelby County. We're going to talk to a couple of the players about preparations for the game. And again, they play Thursday night at 6 o'clock. 2 Sports will, of course, be there indeed. We're also going to talk Reds baseball coming up in just a little bit. Let's look at sports.
One of our 6 men was back, so really it wasn't like we had everybody back, but the kids have come in and really filled in nicely.
I mean, we knew we were going to be good. We knew our teams would try to come after us, but you're good for a reason, and we just came out here and played as hard as we could every game and let our talent show through, and we knew we could get to state if we played well, and we got some breaks, and we've played well, and we've gotten there, and we're looking to keep playing well and see if we can't win it.
Raiders were carried most of the year by their 6'8" big man Dane Borchers, who's been terrific all season, but of late, others have stepped up big too. Each game, a different hero to lift the Raiders. It's been a key to getting to Columbus for the first time in school history.
Unselfishness. Everyone's looking for the pass, not worried about getting their points up or their stats.
We're a team every game. I mean, Dane's our first option, so we come down the floor, we look to get in him. If they cover him, we have other guys on our team who can score, and we're confident everybody on our team can score. And
I think we just have to defend, and we have to really control the boards. You know, I think that's a big key for us. And they press, and we've got to handle their pressure.
How about the big town? The Shelby County community of 1,000, give or take a few, is going bonkers. Tomorrow, the Raiders venture into the Division IV semifinal at 6 o'clock. It's a community affair. Now, as far as the players, well, just notice the smile on the second young man's face.
Well, right before I go to bed, I always think about it. And once you get on the floor, you just play your game. You don't really worry about it.
Really excited. Something kind of dream of when you're young, so all playing in the backyard kind of paid off.
Yes, it did indeed. Hey, Michael Jordan was full go at this morning's Washington Wizards work.
Year in and year out. Hey, we're the small school power area. No first-team All-Staters in D4, but we do have a second-teamer. Russia's big man, Dane Borchers, averaged 19 points a game. His team, of course, in the state tournament for the first time ever. Third-team All-State honors to a young man who's got his team in the state tournament, too. St. John's junior Nate Klaus. A couple of other third-team All-Staters from our area. Marion local big man Rat Reckner. He averaged 17 points a game. And Pandora Gilboa multi-sport standout Adam Basinger He is third team All-Ohio as well, averaging 15 points a game. Special mention picks, Upper Soda Valley's junior standout Ryan Reisner, Lincoln View's Rob Brees, Fairlawn's Devin Alexander. Honorable mention, Minster's Dustin Summer, Otterville's Brent Schnipke, Crestviews Kirk Lichtensteiger, Van Buren's big-time player, and Oakgate's Charlie Kelly. Congratulations to all the honorees. Now, it's no surprise that St. John's, with only one All-State representative, match up with White Oak. Ruscia's been good for a couple of years now. They've been to the regionals, but never to state until now, coming off a 19-4 campaign a year ago, so the pressure has really been there from the get-go of the season.
All year, and you know, we only had 2 starters back from last year. We had one of our 6 men was back, so really it wasn't like we had everybody back. But the kids have come in and really filled in nicely.
I mean, we knew we were going to be good. We knew other teams would try to come after us, but you're good for a reason, and we just came out here and played as hard as we could every game and let our talent show through. And we knew we could get to state if we played well, and we got some breaks, and we've played well, and we've gotten there, and we're looking to keep playing well and see if we can't win it.
The Raiders were carried most of this year, but by their big man, Dane Borchers, the second-team All-State pick, but of late, others have stepped up big, too. Each game a different hero for the Raiders, and it's been a key for them to get to Columbus for the first time in school history.
Unselfishness. Everyone's looking for the pass, not worried about getting their points up or their stats.
We're a team every game. I mean, Dane's our first option, so we come down the floor, we look to get in him. If they cover him, we have other guys on our team who can score, and we're confident everybody on our team can score. And
I think we just have to defend, and we have to really control the boards. You know, I think that's a big key for us. And they press, and we've got to handle their pressure.
Ruscia and White Oak tomorrow, 6 o'clock start. We'll have Ruscia highlights for you tomorrow night at 11 as well. Guess who's Ohio's Mr. Basketball was there?
They won't soon forget.
Welcome to Ruscia, population 551, a small town with big hoop dreams.
Forget about the crowds, the size of the school, their fancy uniforms, and remember what got you here.
It sounds like the making of a Hollywood film, a small Midwest school with only 50 boys, 11 of them taking their first shot at a state basketball title.
Our kids just, you know, play hard every night, and they lay it on the line, and whatever happens, happens. And
Coach Brummagem says it's no surprise his boys have gotten this far. This team is full of champions and leaders.
we're extremely unselfish. I mean, I think that's this team's best quality. We don't care who scores.
And each time they score, they gain confidence. But will these hometown boys be intimidated by the role they'll play on the big city stage?
We might be a little nervous at first, but that'll shake down right away, just being in new surroundings and everything. But we should be able to overcome it.
This is the first time Ruscia's ever made it to the Final Four. Players tell us it's a ride they'll never forget.
It's been a great one so far. We've played great over this postseason run. We've executed well, played with poise and confidence.
There's only one thing this story needs.
Championship banners would be huge, and that'd look really nice in here for the 2002 basketball season.
And come Thursday, these boys from Ruscia will step up to the line and write the final chapters in their big-time Hollywood story. Paula Kruger, Fox 45, NBC 22 Sports.
Paula, thanks a lot. Here's your matchup. Ruscia 22-3 taking on Morristown White Oak 23-2. Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock.
Confident their team will take it on.
Right now.
All year, and they've, you know, it's not too much education going on this week in Ruscia School.
The Bombers have dominated this season, qualifying.
Tomorrow, the Raiders venture into the Division IV semifinal at 6 o'clock. It is a community affair. Now, as for the players, just witness the smile on the second young man's face.
Right before I go to bed, I always think about it. And once you get on the floor, you just play your game. You don't really worry about it.
Really excited. Something kind of dream of when you're young, so all playing in the backyard kind of paid off.
Indeed it did. It also paid off for Matt Witt. All-state selections announced today for boys Division IV. Bethel's Matt Witt, co-player of the year.
Making its first ever trip to the state capitol to take on Morristown White Oak from Value City Arena. First half, Drew Barhorse, 2 of his 14 points. But the Raiders were down 33-22 at the break. Second half, Jay Borchers getting the rock and the bucket and one. And the Raiders fight their way back. Then it's Dane Borchers, 2 of his 16. As the 6'8" guy gets it up and in. Josh Cordonier. He had 7 points, but he also had 11 rebounds, just 2 of his points. Russia going to the state title game. Thanks to the 58-46 victory, Paula Kruger has more from Seba.
The boys from Russia battled hard tonight and ended up knocking off Morristown Wildcats by a score of 58-46. They came back from an 11-point deficit at halftime. Coach Brummagen talked about the victory and how his team continues to write history.
I think we were a little tentative early, and which is to be expected. I mean, the first quarter was up and down, and you know, and they like to play that way, and we like to play that way, and you know, when it's up and down like that, you know, they're shooting the ball really well, and we knew that.
Russia plays for the Division IV state title here on Saturday. Tip-off's at 2 o'clock. From the Value City Arena in Columbus, Paula Kruger, Fox 45, NBC 22 Sports.
All right, Paula.
Comeback, down 11 at the half. Raiders rally to win over White Oak. Here's Casey Wandell with the highlights and post.
Charles Dickens once wrote a classic novel entitled The Tale of Two Cities. Well, tonight, Paul Brummagen and the Russia Raiders chalked up the sequel, The Tale of Two Halves. First half, great ball movement, Scotty Grogan to Dane Borchers. Great scoop pass to Drew Borhorse for 2 of his 14 points. We're locked up at 14 after 1 quarter. That's when Russia got sloppy. Stopped feeding it inside of their all-state center, Dane Borchers, and White Oak's all-state guard, Justin Michael, taking over. First, the easy layup, and then his pressure defense causing the turnover all the way to the rack. The Wildcats pulling away. More Justin Michael. Once again, an easy bucket off a turnover. This is a 15-1 run to end the half, and Brummagen's team in an 11-point hole at 33-22, the most they've been down the entire season. Now, the tale of the second half. Russia on the offensive, back to the basics. Great look from Kyle Gill to Drew Borchers. That's a bucket and the foul. And then, of course, the big man, Dane Borchers, 16 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Russia coming back. How about senior Josh Cordonier? Tough bucket down low, and the lead is down to 1 point. The blue and gold crowd is rocking. The Raiders only hit 3 3-pointers the entire game, none bigger than this. Drew Borchers late in the third, giving Russia a 38-37 lead. They've come all the way back, and they would not look back. Drew again just before the end of the third, 3 of his 14 and a backbreaker as Russia outscores White Oak 20-4 in the third, holding Justin Michael to just 1 field goal in the second half to win 58-46.
They were a little down, and we had to pick their spirits up a little bit, and you know, they haven't been behind by 11 too much this year, and they knew what they had to do, and they did it.
From Columbus, Casey Wandell, TV 35 Sports.
Nice job, Casey and Tommy Narker. You guys set the standard. Division IV State Board, St. John's and Russia. You couldn't ask for anything more. Division IV State Championship game, 2 o'clock Saturday. We'll hear from both head coaches about the state final and going up against each other tomorrow night at 6 and 11. All right, Division II state semis.
Lone representative, 2 Sports takes you courtside in Columbus, just a couple of minutes. Hey, on the way to the
Up last. Then Josh Cordonier. He had only 7 points, but he also had 11 rebounds. It's going to help Russia go on to the state championship game thanks to the 58-46 victory. Paula Kruger has more from Columbus.
The boys from Russia battled hard tonight and ended up knocking off Morristown Wildcats by a score of 58-46. They came back from an 11-point deficit at halftime. Coach Brummagen talked about the victory and how his team continues to write history.
I think we were a little tentative early, and which is to be expected. I mean, the first quarter was up and down, and you know, and they like to play that way, and we like to play that way, and you know, when it's up and down like that, you know, they're shooting the ball really well, and we knew that.
Russia plays for the Division IV state title here on Saturday. Tip-off's at 2 o'clock. From the Value City Arena in Columbus, Paula Kruger, Fox 45, NBC 22 Sports.
Paula, thanks a lot. Russia will play Delta St. John's.
Stayed behind to watch the rest of the community's things. The other 999 residents in the Shelby County town were in Columbus to watch the Raiders. 2 Sports was there as well for this Division IV semi. Russia against White Oak. The Raiders Drew blood early in the paint. Drew Borhorst underneath. Hey, this White Oak team, though, didn't make it this far without game. The Wildcats building up an 11-point lead into the intermission. Whatever Coach Paul told the Russia troops at halftime at work, Jay Borchers, 2 of his 17. Yeah, here comes Russia. How about Big Dane Borchers adding 16 points, 11 boards for the double-double. The Raiders doing it with defense, holding the Wildcats to a mere 4 points in the second half's first 13 minutes. We've got to display this final up in lights, folks. 58-46, Russia advances. Saturday, the Raiders face Delphos St. John's for the Division IV state title. Russia's second half defense getting the job done.
Anytime you hold a team in the state semifinals to 4 points for that long, you got to be thinking it's either good defense or bad shooting, and I don't know if it was either one, but we'll take it.
Well, local interest in the Division II bracket.
Aggressive, and we just needed to be more aggressive and protect the basket a little bit more, and that's what we did in the second half.
Well, things got out of hand last night.
48-46 in the semifinals last night. That puts them into tomorrow's Division IV championship game at 2 Bells over in Columbus.
It feels great. I mean, these kids have been great all year. Our fans have been great, and the community is just, everybody deserves this.
And it should be a great matchup. Russia 24-3 taking on Delphos St. John's out of the MAC 20-6. Tip-off, as I said, at 2 o'clock, Value City Arena. We will be over there and have complete highlights and post-game reaction for you tomorrow at 6. Jose Rio
turned out to see. Fox 45's Kerry Rossmiller was in Columbus and has tonight's top story.
A historic event no one in the tiny Shelby County town would miss.
Everybody comes together. It's like a big Russia love fest. Everybody's going crazy.
A first for Russia, a trip to the state basketball championship.
The whole town came out to support, signs in the yards, Raider country, right guys?
Yeah. Woo! And it feels great to be in the tournament too.
Nearly everyone in the town of 1,000 made the trip to Columbus today. The stands were a sea of blue and gold cheering on the hometown team. The Raiders played a tough game against the Blue Jays of Delphos St. John, finally taking the lead in the third. Just when it looked like Russia's dreams of a state title would come true,
2002 state runner-up trophy to Russia High School.
a second-place finish for a Miami Valley team that's had nothing but a first-rate season.
Played great all year, and they've just a really close team, small school, 50 boys in the high school, and first time we've ever been here, but just couldn't quite pull it off. They played their hearts out. We're really proud of them, and what can we say? Do your best and go on.
In Columbus, Kerry Rossmiller, NBC 22, Fox 45 News.
The town plans to celebrate the boys' great accomplishments with a party tonight and, of course, another one tomorrow. We'll have more in today's big game a bit later in sports. Ryan will have all the highlights plus post-game reaction. Computer hackers attack
game taking on Delphos St. John's. Now, Russia was down 32-27 at the break. They outscored the Blue Jays 21-9 in the third. Drew Borhorst, little baseline fadeaway. He had 11 points, and Russia led it by 4. Raiders then D'ing up. Danny Elsis slapping the ball away, and that starts the break. Jay Borchers back to Elsis, laying it up and in. Russia up 48-41 after 3, but in the fourth, St. John's showing why they're a pretty solid team. Nate Klaus, he had 27 points, getting the layup right there. And St. John's from Delphos will take home the state championship, 74-64, your final.
We haven't given up all year. These kids don't know the word quit, and they never will. And we're real proud of what they've accomplished this year.
Congratulations to Russia on a great, great season.
Turned out to see. NBC 22's Kerry Rossmiller was in Columbus and has tonight's top story.
A historic event no one in the tiny Shelby County town would miss.
Everybody comes together. It's like a big Russia love fest. Everybody's going crazy.
A first for Russia, a trip to the state basketball championship.
The whole town came out to support, signs in the yards, Raider country, right guys?
Yeah. Woo! And it feels great to be in the tournament too.
Nearly everyone in the town of 1,000 made the trip to Columbus today. The stands were a sea of blue and gold cheering on the hometown team. The Raiders played a tough game against the Blue Jays of Delphos St. John, finally taking the lead in the third. Just when it looked like Ruschi's dreams of a state title would come true.
2002 state runner-up trophy to Ruschi High School.
A second-place finish for a Miami Valley team that's had nothing but a first-rate season.
Played great all year, and they've just a really close team, small school, 50 boys in the high school, and first time we've ever been here, but just couldn't quite pull it off. They played their hearts out. We're really proud of them, and what can we say? Do your best and go on.
In Columbus, Carrie Rossmiller, NBC 22, Fox 45 News.
The town plans to celebrate the boys' great accomplishments with a party tonight and then another one tomorrow. We'll have more on today's big game a bit later in sports. Ryan will have all the highlights plus post-game reaction.
And what a way to end the high school basketball season today down in Columbus. Division IV state final between Ruschi and Delphos St. John's. Now with the full story, here is TV 35's own Tom Narker.
Delphos St. John's back at the shot today for the second consecutive year in the state title game and looking for their first state championship under head coach Brett Norris, taking on the Ruschi Raiders as they find themselves in the Final Four for the first time in school history. St. John's in control early on. The patented and Blue Jay defense. Nate Klaus coming up with a steal, and he takes it in for the easy bucket. Then check out this play. Keith Recker on the verge of losing it out of bounds, flings it back, and in the hands of Brian Clark, and he drills the three ball. Klaus going back inside to Recker. This time he gathers the ball cleanly and kisses it off glass. St. John's out to an 11-2 lead. The Raiders showing patient composure in their game, slowly getting back in at first. Dane Borchers inside for the short jumper. And then Josh Cordonier drives, pivots around, and off glass. Raiders would be down 2 after the first quarter. The second quarter would turn into the Nate Klaus show. First he drives and dishes to Mike Anthony for the hoop and the harm. Then he drives the left side of the lane with a nice left-handed scoop shot. And check this out. 3 feet from behind the NBA three-point line. Money. Another drive on the left side and another left-handed scoop shot for the bucket. Nate Klaus would tally 17 points and 5 assists in the first half alone as Brett Norris' squad would hold a 32-27 halftime lead. Raiders start the third quarter on fire. First they find the 6'8", Dane Borchers in the paint for the easy bucket, tying things up at 36. Jay Borchers then finds Josh Cordonier underneath and tied again at 38. Then Drew Barhorst with a sweet fadeaway jumper along the baseline, and the Raiders turning up the D. Danny Ellis is poking the ball away. Cordonier up court to Borchers, and he finds the man who started off. Elsis with the bucket, and the Blue Jays in trouble. Brett Norris would get his kids together and rally the troops. Down 7 going into the final frame. Blue Jays turn it up from behind the arc. First, Brian Clark to cut it to a 4-point game. And later on, Nate Klaus getting back on track to give St. John's the lead, 54-53. Brian Clark again, this time from the right side, giving St. John's a 2-point lead at 57-55. And finally, Mike Anthony feeds Nate Klaus underneath, pump fakes and off glass. Head coach Brett Norris and the Delphos St. John Blue Jays pumped as they come from behind, outscoring Ruschi 33-16 in the fourth quarter to win the Division IV state title 74-64 over the Ruschi Raiders.
We worked so hard. I mean, this whole season was kind of like the fourth quarter. We go in, we're down, and we just keep overcoming things. We hang in there. It's hard to believe we're the state champions, though.
Greatest feeling in the world. I mean, they were a tough team, but we just kept fighting. They had that run. We responded, and we just came away with the win. It's great.
Words can't describe what this feeling is like, especially being down 7, going into the fourth quarter. We just had to get it all together. We knew we had 8 more minutes of ball to play, and we did it.
The Ruschi Raiders come up a little short today, but still a great run to the state title game.
We haven't given up all year. These kids don't know the word quit and never will, and you know, we're real proud of what they've accomplished this year.
From the shot, I'm Tom Nartker for TV 35 Sports.
All right, thank you.
Offense.
Congratulations to Rudy.
To 64. Division II, LeBron James was denied his third straight state championship as his Akron St. Vincent St. Mary's Irish fall today to Cincinnati Roger Bacon 71-63 despite LeBron James' 32-point effort. And in Division I, it is Columbus Brookhaven winning over Cincinnati Winton Woods 66-49 in a blowout. Now don't you go away. 2 spots in the
championship. Highlights from the Division IV title game next in 2 Sports. University, but just 2 Raiders were after their first state title in school history, taking on Delphos St. John's for the Division IV championship. The Russia fans fired up. We pick up the action in the 3rd quarter. Great passing by the Raiders. Down low to Drew Barhorse. Watch him find room on the baseline and knock down the jumper. Moments later, Barhorse again. Watch the sweet lay-in. Russia building a big lead. On the break, Jay Borchers makes the extra pass. Danny Elsis puts it in. Raiders are up 7 heading into the 4th quarter, but those final 8 minutes were tough on Russia as St. John's hit the lights out and Russia kind of ran out of gas. We put up the final. St. John's 74-64. The St. John's boys and girls teams both claimed state titles this year, but for Russia, still plenty to be proud of.
We haven't given up all year. These kids don't know the word quit and never will. And, we're real proud of what they've accomplished this year.
To the women's NCAA, Sue Bird would have a big day.
We'll have details on that coming up next in sports with Brad Show TV.
Sports writer George Vesey once said, every champion, by definition, is historic. Old George may have had Russia in mind. With an enrollment of just 50 boys, the Raiders have never been to the state finals, let alone won one. Russia trying to write history today, taking on Delphos St. John's in the Division IV state championship game. Russia's only championship came in 1971 when the baseball team won it all. And here's Dane Borcher sticking the jumper. Raiders down 5 at half. 3rd quarter, that's Courtenay getting inside for the bucket. We're all tied. And then Drew Barhorse cuts to the hoop, gets the basket. They were up 6, but St. John's turns it on in the end. This 3 falls, and so does Russia's 74-64. Coach Bremigan talks about the loss.
We took some chances on defense, and we shouldn't have, and we had some breakdowns, and they hit some threes. And that was big, and then we turned the ball over a few times in crucial situations.
Division II finals, Roger Bacon taking on Mr. Basketball, LeBron James.
Tournament 80th edition, and we're going to have another state champion in Lima Land, guaranteed, folks. Remember a couple of years ago, Fort Jennings winning its first ever state championship in basketball with a win over St. Henry. A similar scenario to take place tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Division IV state championship game with Russia, the 4th smallest public school that has a basketball program in the state of Ohio, versus the perennial power Delphos St. John's. And like St. Henry, from the best small school conference in the state, the Midwest Athletic Conference. Are you catching on here? St. John's and Russia, we're going to blow this sucker out of the water tonight. Let's hear first from the 2 teams.
Got an excellent club. Certainly no Achilles heel, and there's no weakness. The big kid really plays well in there, and they're a lot like teams in our conference. I mean, they're aggressive, they're physical, they defend well, and they execute in the half court.
We've had a real nice run of athletes, through our school system. We've got kids that, come out and play, and we've got, our school's small, but you can't take anything away from them. These kids always play hard.
We won't take anything for granted, I can promise you that. I expect that we'll play well, and hopefully this time it'll be enough.
You go out hard, it's your last game, so you really lay it on the line.
They hear it from everybody else, how big of a game it is and so forth. They don't need to hear it from me. They just want to, they just like to play. And they're gonna play, and it's their last game, so I know they're gonna play their butts off.
All righty, let us bring in TV 35's Casey Wandell, courtside for both of the D4 state semis last night. Here tonight to offer us some insight on what these 2 teams need to do to bring home a state championship, Case.
And it's always a pleasure to be sitting above your right shoulder, Vince, but seriously, it's very simple for Saturday's ball game. Forget about the matchups. If Russia comes out as tight and nervous as they did against White Oak, this thing could get out of hand in a hurry. St. John's has been there 3 out of the last 5 years. They know what it takes to win on that floor, and it showed yesterday in the manhandling of Bristol. So I think that we'll be able to see early in the first half whether or not the Raiders have settled down and can force a 4-quarter, half-court game.
We weren't playing aggressive. We were definitely timid, I know that. And we just weren't playing our game. We play aggressive, and that's how we play, and we just weren't playing that.
We were just playing scared. We were timid, and we just didn't do it. We didn't play our game at all.
Once we got here, I saw the building, how big it was. It was just kind of overwhelming. But then once you got here, just started doing run-throughs and got in the inside. It just kind of felt like it's like another home game for us because we've been here so much, and we just all relaxed and played our game.
It was clear early on that Russia was uncomfortable. Here, a lazy pass into the cheap seats. I almost caught that one, actually. And then again in the first half, just struggling to work the ball up court. No offensive continuity. Dane Borchers is not going to touch here either, and another turnover is eventually forced going the other way. Now, on the other hand, St. John's in command of their offense all night long. Look at the crisp bounce passes here, execution. The goal is to work it down to senior leader Keith Recker. The defense eventually comes out. The entry pass is there, and an easy bucket result for the Blue Jays. Now, it's very simple for Russia. They must have 6'8" Dane Borchers touch the ball almost every time down the floor. I know that sounds pretty obvious, but they got away from that in the first half of their semifinal game, and they went down 11 at the break. Second half, it goes into Borchers the first 10 possessions. The deficit is erased. The Raiders advance. Now, if they're down 11 at halftime to Delphus, you can pack it up the bus and go on home. Borchers draws so much attention defensively, opening things up for everybody else, let alone he's such a great scorer himself. Here, his teammates in trouble. Jay Borchers almost turns it over. They get it to guess who? Dane. Great pivot, soft kiss off the glass at a tough angle. St. John's knows in order to win, Dane Borchers has to be contained.
You know, everything kind of revolves around the big kid, but as you said, there's nothing really flashy about them. They really complement each other well. They're certainly a well-coached team, and they're solid at both ends of the floor, and they rebound it, which is what you got to do to get to this stage of the game.
All right, Vince, so we can see that this one has the makings of a great Division IV final, but if the Raiders don't force the tempo, they need to make this thing a 4-quarter slugfest. If they don't, we will be looking at the second state championship going back to Delphus in a matter of 7 days, bud.
You got to look at experience here. St. John's has been there before. Russia hasn't. Also, strength of schedule. So, on paper, though, we don't play the game on paper. We're going to play tomorrow, 2 o'clock. And, of course, TV 35's Tom Narker will be live at the Value City Arena to bring back highlights for us tomorrow night at 6:11. Casey, thank you very much.
You got it, bud.
All right.
Our lone local boys state contender faces Delphus St. John's. If Russia shows the heart it displayed in coming from behind yesterday to win its semifinal game, things should go pretty well.
Rebound better. That was the bottom line. We didn't rebound very well, and I thought we weren't aggressive in the first half. I don't know if it was the surroundings or what, but we weren't very aggressive, and we just needed to be more aggressive and protect the basket a little bit more, and that's what we did in the second half.
First ever trip to Columbus in the state semifinals. Tonight, NBC 22's Paula Kruger takes a look at a town overcome with hoop hysteria.
I'm in Russia, population 551. Their basketball team is gearing up for their first ever state tournament. This town may be small, but their spirit is huge. Sarah, you're a fan of the Raiders. Tell me how proud you are of your team right now.
I'm so excited for our guys. They've done so much good teamwork this year and had so much fun, and it's just a joy to watch them because they're just having a great time.
Tell me a little bit about what you've done to get into the spirit.
Oh, I got bows on my trees and windows painted at home, and I had balloons out, and of course the car and the van are painted. Bought paint for the kids to paint theirs, and yeah, we're all decorated.
Everybody is just red hot and rolling, and we are so excited to have the first soon-to-be state champions in Russia, or Russia, whatever you'd like to say.
Kathy, you've been busy.
Yeah.
All across your floor right here. We've got signs. You painted each of these yourself, didn't you?
Yeah.
How long have you been working on them?
Oh, several hours.
Tell me a little bit about how you're feeling as a fan right now.
Well, actually, I'm a cheerleader, and I'm really pumped because I get to cheer at the Schottenstein Center. And we're all really excited.
Tip-off's at 6 o'clock in Columbus at Value City Arena. You can be sure these crazies will be there.
Raiders! Raiders!
In Russia, Paula Kruger, Fox 45, NBC 22 News.